Hello, everybody! Welcome to Hooked on Sonics, episode 26. Tonight, we're talking about outlaws and animals. And I can't think of a bigger animal than that guy over there. That's Tony. I'm Bruce. Look at
What's
him.
up?
What's going on, man?
Not much, dude. Just living the dream. Living the dream.
That's
That's
right.
all you can do, you know. Yeah. Just we shot that episode last night because of the redo. So I really don't
Yep.
have much of the way of listening to anything. Aside from I'm making plans to go see Atheist in Cleveland June 28th for they added a few dates to their shows with Cynic. And I've wanted to see Atheist since I was a teenager, and it just never came to fruition for what may be. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it is what it is. They are one of my favorite death metal bands, and they're definitely one of my favorite technical death metal bands. They're just amazing. I don't think they sound quite like anybody. I think them and Death have some similarities, but they're each different in their own right. And Death is
Yeah.
great. Chuck Schuldiner was one of the greatest, if not the man when it come to death metal. Chris Barnes, I've always listened to that kind of stuff though, but I really liked Atheist back in the day. If I had to name like what would be considered the big five or big three or whatever, I mean the top three death metal bands that come to mind for me are Cannibal Corpse, Atheist, and uh, who else did I just mention? I just mentioned Cannibal Corpse, Atheist. Ah, forget it. Brain fart.
Deicide.
No, Deicide falls into that, man. But they also have some really, they have some. They're like black death metal, man. Like there's some real satanic overtones there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's to be expected. Death metal in general just deals with death, and technical death metal is the art of playing it technically, So which is I was listening to an album. You're actually going to get it tonight. Uh, I was listening to an album by Atheist, and it's considered one of the best technical death metal albums of all time. And listening back to it, I'm just like, yeah, this shit was fucking amazing. No wonder I love these guys so much. Um, Vocals ain't going to be, my favorite aspect of it, and they never really have been for death metal. I love death metal, and I love death metal vocalists, but to me, it's just it's the music that's
Yeah.
being played more so than the vocal work. The vocal work has its own thing, don't get me wrong, but it's the musical composition of the speed, the technicality, and the brutality of it all. So that's what I love about death metal, man. And I've always loved death metal. Those guys from Columbus, from Sango Sigabog, I think they're called, with crazy name, and they're getting a lot of flack for that, man. And it's cool, but it's what their name is, But Devin Swank and I are friends on Facebook, and they're big into the death metal scene right now, dude. They're touring Europe and shit. And this guy's from right here, homegrown Central Ohio, man. Good dude, really nice dude. And um, he was part of a few different death metal projects, but Sanguine Sigabog is just taking off. They got videos. They're huge in the death metal scene right now, dude. And it's
So
amazing.
answer me this: what is huge in death metal terms?
To me, I come from a local band
No,
here in
just
Columbus.
in general. Like what constitutes huge in death metal? Because obviously you're not going to get the audience or size streams or anything like that than a traditional rock or anything like that.
Right.
So
But it does have
what's
its own
viewed as a
following.
success?
So here's the thing. It does have its own following. And their name is pretty synonymous with death metal right now, especially modern death metal. Okay. Now, by way of comparison, and you may not know about these guys, but I am definitely giving you an album from these guys. And there's only two. We only got two of them because their singer died. from an overdose here recently. And it is one of the most tragic things to ever happen in the metal community. But the group called Power Trip, I highly suggest you check these dudes out. They are classic thrash metal, thrash American metal as it comes. And they are, dude, I don't know when the last time you listened to a good thrash metal album and went, these dudes are good.
Right.
These are those dudes.
But what makes that type of metal successful? How do you deem it a success?
Well, dude, here, this is how I deem it a success. Okay, these guys are on tour with their heroes. Their heroes, when not on tour with them, are coming to see them live. They are playing sold out venues. They have a TikTok where Devin took a football and held it up to the crowd and said, I'm going to throw this out to the crowd. It's not about who catches it. It's who has it at the end of the show. Whoever brings this up to me at the end of the show gets a free shirt. And he tossed it into the crowd.
Oh, boy.
Madness ensued.
Yeah.
Dude, it was amazing.
Okay. So,
but hold on. What else defines their success? Coming from a local band here in Columbus, Ohio, and these guys are out on tour in Europe, all over the US. They're probably, if not had already been, heading to Japan and shit like that, dude. They're being accepted all over the world and loved all over the world. I don't know to what level of success they've hit. It's not my place to ask them about financials, but if it were me and I had the opportunity to play with some of my heroes live and go tour across the US or even an East Coast tour or something like that with them, that to me feels like making it. I mean, I don't have to be a great success, man, but I'm pretty sure you garner the success of about 1 million fans, you could probably make a little bit of money.
Yeah. But listen to what I'm asking. So, a ex death metal band that is, by the standards, is very successful. Are they selling out venues like Schottenstein Center? Are they selling out venues like Promo West?
Yeah, Alrosa or Newport or something like that. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. I mean, that depends on what, the definition of success is up to whoever deems what success is. Success is basically in the eye of the beholder.
No, what kind of venues are the good death metal bands selling out?
They might play venues like maybe as little as the Basement, as big as the Newport.
Okay.
Okay.
So generally speaking, in that death metal genre, Newport type shows are about as big as it gets, unless you're with like a festival.
Yes,
is that,
and as a matter of fact, one of the things that you even speak about is they were invited onto the Maryland Death Metal Fest. That's the big one here in the upper states. So I mean, that's a pretty big thing, man. I mean, if Muddy Roots called us down, Muddy Roots isn't a huge festival, but it's a huge festival known by a lot of people in the doom and punk community, dude. And even Americana and stuff like that is down there in Muddy Roots and stuff, man.
Yeah.
So just invited to something like that, and those guys probably ain't working with the biggest budget or anything, but to be able to play a show and no matter how big or small of a band you are, to be able to play a show in front of thousands of people that are coming to some kind of outdoor setup like that is such a major deal of exposure.
Huge. Absolutely agree.
Huge, because you know what? Not everybody there is going to like you, but I guarantee there's going to be a few that does. So I don't know, man. I just, like, for me, their level of success is because I know about the death metal community, and I don't know a lot of hardcore, deep down underground death bands. Don't give me credit for that. That's not me. Okay. I'm about as probably mainstream death metal as it comes, but it still means that I like it. I also like technical death metal a lot. So, with that being said, I've listened to these guys. They are great in the field. And they are they are what modern death metal should sound like. And praise to them coming from Columbus, Ohio. Uh, very proud of those fellas, man. Very, very proud of those
Yeah.
fellas. They're out there making Ohio proud. In the death metal community, they're making the death metal community as proud as whatever the community is you'd call 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots is from here in, I think, Westerville, Ohio. They're making Ohio proud, dude. You know what I'm saying? So be proud of these guys out there making it. I have no ill feelings towards any of these guys. I want to see success more so out of Ohio than anywhere else because we've seen Detroit, we've seen the Florida death metal scene, we've seen stuff that comes from LA, we've seen stuff that comes from New York. Come on, Ohio, bring it like we never do because we've got great, great, great musicians in Ohio. We got the Parliament Funkadelic, dude. You got fucking Lady Kier from D-Light. You got the Ohio Players, right? Am I right or wrong? You know, you got the
Mm-hmm.
Gods. You got, dude, Ohio had some great bands. It still has great bands.
Black
Unfortunately,
Keys.
dude, the list can go on. You know what I mean? One of my favorite bass players in the entire world lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, and that is Bootsy fucking Collins. Give me the funk, dude. Give me the motherfucking funk because I love funk music, and I especially love
Yeah.
fucking Parliament, dude. I've seen Parliament more than any other band aside from probably Cool in the Game, and that's crazy to hear come out of this death metal slash punk slash doom thing over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I listen to all kinds of music, and there are just some things that I absolutely love. You could never talk shit about Cool in the Game to me. You could never talk shit about Parliament Funkadelic to me. Those would be fighting words, absolute fucking fighting words. And I think that you would sit there and go, yeah, you don't ever want to do that to Tony because he'll fucking defend those bands till he's dead.
By the way, I think Bootsy Collins dead.
Bullshit.
Pretty sure he's dead.
Bullshit. I got money on it. Now you got to make me look it up because you're an asshole.
Hey, listen, I think you owe me some other stuff. I tell you what, double or nothing.
Nope. You don't get a chance on this. You don't get to talk about the man like that. He is not fucking dead, dude. He is, however, 71 years fucking old. I have him on Facebook. Fuck off.
He's dead.
He is not. Don't say that, dude. Don't say
I'm
such
telling
horrible.
you.
Dude, he's not dead. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Bootsy Collins is not dead. Eddie Hazel's dead. Eddie Hazel's dead. The guy that played the guitar work of Maggot Brain.
Okay.
Yeah. Not Bootsy.
I'm gonna check my
Bootsy,
sources.
Bootsy ain't out of it yet, dude. I'm telling you. He's on Facebook
Long live
daily.
Bootsy.
He's all on he's on Facebook daily. But
Yep.
he is 71 years old. And he gave
I
us
was surprised he's not older, honestly.
he gave us masterpieces, dude. He
Yep.
gave us absolute fucking masterpieces. And
Yep.
I feel the same way about Victor Wooten. If you don't know who Victor Wooten is in the bass
Oh
player world,
God, Victor
you're
Wooten.
sadly mistaken. The man is
Yeah.
an icon. What's his name?
Completely.
James Thundercat Brunner. Check him out. These guys are great fucking bass players, man.
Yeah.
James Thundercat Brunner, I think, played for who sang "You Better Call Tyrone"?
Oh, that's
Erykah Badu. Yeah, I think he played bass for Erykah Badu. He played bass for Suicidal Tendencies when I seen him. If you're not familiar with your bass players, man, check them out. There's a lot of great ones out there.
I agree.
With that being said, I really have no news. News is pretty much a slow day today. If I didn't mention it, it looked like Morbid Angel, I think's original drummer passed away, or one of their drummers recently passed. Unfortunately, to hear that. I think I can't remember who said they were working on a new album. I'll have all that next week. Just everything's pretty current because of the show yesterday that we had to reshoot. But with that,
absolutely.
said, we have got some albums to review, and I'd like to do that. But before we do, I want to have a small conversation with you. This is going to be a little bit longer of an episode. We agree on that. We're recording for a longer reason because we want to test some things out. in anticipation of the special Black Sabbath episode. This is obviously episode 26. The Sabbath episode is coming on episode 31 for this year's season finale. We are going to be taking a break from doing the show for a little while, and we'll probably return. I'm guessing nothing short of 2 or 3 months out tops, because we enjoy doing the show, but at some point in time, we have to call it a season. You know what I mean? So you got something else to look forward to, and we can take a rest from committing to it on Tuesday nights. With the Black Sabbath episode, I think we're going to discuss the Sabbath singers, who we think was the best for what reasons, and why we feel that they were the best. It's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people on a personal level are going to agree that, and I'm calling this weeks ahead of time. I think a lot of people are going to agree that Ozzy was probably what made Black Sabbath as far as a stinger goes. And they obviously had the most hits. But I would reasonably argue that considering that we've got pretty much a good deal of guitar players, and say that Ozzy is not Sabbath. Just because at the end of the day, and I don't care how you paint it, Tony Iommi is Black Sabbath. Doesn't matter who's singing, the riffs are still there. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it, dude. At the end of the day, when there would be no more other versions of Sabbath if it wasn't for Tony Iommi.
Oh, except for Seventh Star, featuring Tony Iommi.
Well,
but go ahead.
They've had some weird shit like that go down, because remember they recorded a whole nother album as Heaven and Hell instead of Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and they wanted to kind of separate those two, because in all honesty, I don't think Ozzy had any respect for Dio in the role, and I don't know if Dio had any respect for Ozzy.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be a really interesting topic.
I'm actually going to look into that a little bit. I don't want to misspeak, but I don't think I've ever heard Dio say anything bad about Ozzy, but I don't think I've ever heard Ozzy say anything good about Dio.
Yeah,
And
I don't know what they're.
That's just my recollection.
Yeah. We'll find out.
What do you think? Like of what you, I mean, and you know music over the years. You've been listening to these guys just the same. You've seen and heard interviews. Can you think of a time Ozzy said anything nice about Dio?
I can't think of any time where either Dio or Ozzy really even acknowledged each other. Like it always felt like, that's just what he does.
Thing.
Yeah.
And I get that too.
Definitely not like Dave and Sammy.
Agreed.
Nothing like that.
I think being, and this is being honest, I think they're both from over there in Britain, ain't they?
Yeah.
And I think there's just that.
Oh, no. Ronnie James Dio's American.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Google it.
I'm Googling it right now. Get the fucking hell out of here. I'll tell you what, since you seem to know that he's American, I'll let you take a guess at the state. You're going to shit if you don't know it. Of all places, even.
I believe it's Tennessee.
Wow.
And the reason.
Such a statement.
The reason I say that, somebody I know hung out with his relatives. Somebody down here that I know hung out with like his nephew. And he came by to visit. Oh yeah, that's Uncle Ronnie.
Okay. Do you want what I know?
Well, please.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Yep. Okay.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Wow, you learn something new every day, right?
Absolutely.
But anyways,
So
I don't know that I don't know for sure that I've heard Ozzy say anything negative. I think, like you said, they both kind of beat around the bush, but I do believe there are negative connotations with how the Osbournes handle the other Sabbath
yeah.
singers' stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
and that speaks volumes in itself. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, it's nice to see that the Tony Martin stuff's getting re-released. I'd like to get my hands on some of that stuff just because I haven't heard it in years. And I know I could probably listen to a lot of it on YouTube, but I do have a Sabbath collection digital, and I'd like to have the rest of that digital.
Yeah.
It's kind of uncopable unless you go do some unscrupulous things that you used to do back in the mid '90s to 2000s.
Yeah. Look at the time. This is. Whew.
With that being said, looks like you're having the course tonight.
Yeah, and I'm chasing it with Leinenkugel's Toasted Bach.
Toasted Bach. Cool, cool. Well, I got one for you here, sir. I drank a little beer last night, so I figured I'd have myself a little mixed drink tonight.
Okay.
Don't do these too often because of the sugar content. So we went with the classic. You should see it's a little orange and pink. Tequila Sunrise in the Clippers glass with some Lunazol Cristalino or Lunazol Primero. It's their Cristalino tequila.
Here you go. Columbus Clippers, your team is number one. Columbus Clippers, we won't stop till we won.
No,
I don't remember the rest.
I don't either. But you know what? I love my Clippers. And you can't hear it because everybody's yelling at the top of their fucking lungs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Those who know it are yelling it at the top of their lungs, making fun of us that don't know it because we can't understand a damn thing you're fucking saying.
And ring your damn cowbell.
You know what's fucked up, dude? It's funny that we mentioned this tonight because Kate's dad is out at the Clippers game for what? For what? What's happening tonight, Bruce?
Dime a dog night.
Dime a dog night, baby. You know what I'm saying? And fucking
best tradition in baseball,
she's
baby.
Pissed because he's there and she's not with him, dude. And I'm like, I understand, babe. I'd be just as pissed if it was my dad too. Like, motherfucker, give me a damn call. I want to eat my fair share of dime dogs. I want to watch my damn Clippers play. Fuck. But nah, man. That's funny. That's actually pretty funny.
I love it.
Cool, man. So what do you want to do, man? You want to creep on up to these album reviews?
Yeah.
All right, let's
creeping in. We're creeping in. I'm creeping.
Who did the first last night?
I don't remember.
Let me think.
I'll go first.
You went first last night. I'll go first tonight.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to be fair. All right. So I had David Allan Coe's Long-Haired Redneck. And I could not find a straight, legit run of just that album on YouTube. The whole album's there, but if you look it up, I'm going to make the suggestion that you do what I did, and you'll find it under Long-Haired Redneck Rides Again. This is the Long-Haired Redneck and the Rides Again album combined. Rides Again starts right after the end of Long-Haired Redneck. And we're going to do something special for you guys tonight because I enjoyed the first album, and I'm going to get to that. I went ahead and listened to the second album, so I'm going to give you 2 album reviews for the price of 1 tonight.
Damn.
Sorry if it takes a little bit of time. Sorry if I'm going to speak. I know I do a lot of fucking talking, but let's get into this, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
First album. I'm going to give you some track listing here real quick. Long-Haired Redneck starts off the album. This is a hit for him. This is a classic song for him. If you own David Allan Coe's greatest hits, this is probably on it.
It is.
Possibly. I mean, I've got his greatest hits laying around. I can't remember everything that's on it.
He's got multiple greatest hits, and it's on every single one.
Okay. And then you got when she's got me, where she wants me,
Yep.
Revenge, Texas Lullaby, Living on the Run, Family Reunion, Rock and Roll Holiday, Freeborn Rambling Man, Spotlight, Dakota, The Dancing Bear Part Two, and Willie Whalen and Me, The House We've Been Calling Home. Um, Let me just state that I got ahead of myself there. Um, Dakota the Dancing Bear Part Two is the end of Long Haired Redneck album. Willie Whalen and Me begins the track listing for the next album, but let me go ahead and do this album first. Long Haired Redneck, classic David Allan Coe tune. Um, as you listen to this album, it is very reminiscent, song wise, structure wise, of most of the stuff that you're used to from David Allan Coe, as far as if you were just to go ahead and spin his greatest hits album. That's no slight to the album. The man is I don't know how to put it.
That's exactly how you would put it.
Other than the fact that the guy has a way with just kind of telling it how it is. Um, Sometimes he can be rough. Sometimes he can be tender. Sometimes he can be tongue in cheek. There's a lot of good stuff here, but at the end of the day, I think it just boils down to one thing. It's alarming listening to how these songs were created and whatnot. It's alarming to know that this man probably isn't going to die a lot richer than he probably could have. This guy was a huge force in the Texas country Western thing. He had some troubles with the law. He's not exactly a savory human being. There are lyrics in his content that in today's day and age would never fucking make it. Let me say that again. Never fucking make it. Not in today's age. But one thing I notice about people canceling people is they get upset about it and they move on. David Allan Coe's use of the N word is flared in a few of his songs. It's not my favorite word. I think as a society, we're better than that. I'm not going to go into the long dance of it. Racial slurs are a joke to me. I don't think it's funny. You know, I think if you've got to stoop to the point of making a statement based on the color of somebody's skin instead of just calling them an asshole or something, I think you got real fucking problems. But with that being said, um, I'm not with it. Now, growing up, I listened to this stuff a lot. My stepdad was a David Allan Coe fan, and I had early exposure to this stuff. And I've listened to Coe off and on over the years, man, but I don't listen to him as much. And it's no slight against him. He's a hell of a songwriter. If I had to tell you during his time frame, listening to what he had written as opposed to other country stuff that was coming out around that time, there really weren't too many people writing real music about real situations like this guy. He was really doing the real thing. I mean, you had your cowboys singing about being cowboys that probably weren't cowboys, but this guy was living the outlaw life, literally, and still probably does. Um,
So can I add a couple things?
Hold on, because I want to see something. I did some digging, and I believe he was convicted for murder.
No.
He was in prison. He was in and out of
He
prison
was
for a
in
minute,
prison.
and he killed a guy in prison.
No,
Then, no,
he made that up.
really.
Yeah.
Now, how do you know he made that up? What is your validity there?
Because he was in the Ohio State Penitentiary
Correct.
for possession of burglary tools, I think, and other
I did see that.
stuff.
But while he was in, he learned to play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in time, he was approached by a gay prisoner,
Mm-hmm.
and he murdered.
According to official state prison records, that incident never happened.
Can't argue facts.
But he ran with that. And he was
there, then it's not there.
Yeah, he's been in different reform schools. He was in Mansfield Reformatory. He was in the Ohio State Penitentiary. I don't know 100% sure if he was actually on death row, but he was in prison. Johnny Cash did help him get out of prison. He petitioned the warden to get an early release for David Allan Coe. David Allan Coe had a lot of different. He was in a all black band while he was in prison, and right after he got out of prison.
Really?
Yes. So earlier, when you was trying to describe David Allan Coe, that's exactly how everyone in the establishment and everyone his entire life has been trying to figure him out. He's complicated.
He's an anomaly. He's just this anomaly of a human being. One minute you think he's the greatest guy on the face of the earth. The next minute, man, he could be this off the wall craziness, man. And I think that may speak to his genius. You know what I mean? Some of the most ingenious people are thought to be the craziest sons of bitches to ever fucking walk the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at the end of the day, were they geniuses? Yeah, they're geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I say pound for pound when I think about music from that era. I can't think of anybody that I like to listen to more during that time frame than David Allan Coe. Don't get me wrong. I mean, who else was back here? You know, Waylon Jennings, and,
Waylon, mm-hmm.
You know, Merle Haggard, and you know, Johnny
Willie
Cash,
Nelson.
And, you know, and don't get me wrong, I love all those dudes, but you know, if I had to go back to that time frame and really sit down and say I'm going to listen to an album, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably coming back to like David Allan Coe's greatest hits. Now, with that being said, this album is paced very well. It has every dynamic of David Allan Coe that I'm familiar with. And at the end of the day, the songwriting is absolutely amazing. And this then bleeds into the very next album. And that, you know, you have Willie, Waylon, and Me, classic. It's on every greatest hits album. The House We've Been Calling Home, Young Dallas Cowboy, A Sense of Humor, the Pumpkin Center Barn Dance. I kind of really dig that one, man. Because I don't think I'm really familiar with it. The Willie Waylon and Me reprise in the middle of the album was pretty cool. The big track that really ate me up, dude, was Lately I've Been Thinking Too Much Lately, man. That's a heavy duty song, man. You know
that
what I mean?
Should have been a bigger hit.
It should have been a bigger hit. Laid Back and Wasted, Under Rachel's Wings, I thought was almost had some gospel in it, man. Like it was, it seemed very gospel type, you know, in some of its manner. You know, I'm not going to tell you you're going to listen to that song for a gospel song.
Oh, yeah.
Greener Than the Grass We Laid On, and If That Ain't Country. And If That Ain't Country is, you know, the kind of the dot on this album, or the dot on both albums together. You know, the one thing I like to warn the listeners about is you're going to hear that word, man. You're going to hear that word, and you have to think it's a time and a place. I'm not saying that it makes it right, but in the context it's used, uh, I don't know, you know, too many too many ways around it, because I'm not the songwriter. You know, I get his point as to what he was saying and the point he was trying to make. I just don't know that in me personally, it's just not like, you know,
Now, now to be clear, everyone, he's talking about it was said one time in one song on that album. So,
no,
yes, it was
it's in the chorus on that album, on that song. The chorus is sung 2 or 3 times.
once.
Try again. I bet you go listen to the song again.
I
know you're
did.
David Allen. Listen, I know you're a David Allen Coe fan, but what I heard today was at least twice.
No, that's
Okay.
incorrect.
How much you want to bet on it?
You really don't want to bet me on this.
How much you want to bet on it?
Huh?
How much you want to
I
bet on
will bet you $500.
it? Ooh, that's
It's once. It's once.
Bullshit.
Trying like the devil to find the Lord.
Working like a for my room and board. It's sung twice.
Once.
That money, dude.
I just did $500.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, come on now.
So while you're looking that up, I want to share with everyone a all music review for that album by this guy. His name was Thom Jurek. Says his wild long hair, multiple earrings, flashy, glitzy rhinestone suits, Harley Davidson boots, and football sized belt buckles had become obstacles to getting people to take him seriously as a recording artist. Other singers continued to record and succeed with his material, but the author himself, who was as good a singer as almost anyone and better than most, languished in obscurity. Rather than tone it down, Coe characteristically shoved the stereotypes in their faces. He retired the mysterious rhinestone cowboy persona and billed his new album as David Allan Coe Rides Again as the long-haired redneck, something equally off-putting to institution types. So he leaned into being outlandish and just doing whatever the hell he wanted.
Here's the thing. It's an ugly word, and I can think of a couple. I can think of a couple other songs it's been used in that they're good songs, but I mean, they probably could have been better if they, didn't have to throw that in there. 1 in a Million. 1 in a Million was a very big, impactful song during the time when you and I were in
by Guns N' Roses.
By Guns N' Roses. Bob Dylan, The Hurricane. One of my favorite songs by Bob Dylan. The words used there. But it's a time and place, and for me, it's not a word I like to hear, man. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not happy with it. I'm not comfortable with it. I think there's always an alternative. It's one thing to cuss, racial slur, like saying the racial slurs for Japanese or Chinese people, and shit like it ain't cool, dude. I'm just not with it. I would hope that we would move beyond that as a human race.
So you're right. I want to point something out to you. You just right there epitomized why David Allan Coe wasn't as successful.
Agreed. But
because that one word has overshadowed this whole album. You've spent more time talking about that word.
I'm sure. Well, listen,
and I'm not saying it's wrong, but from a big picture.
we have a
Yep.
responsibility to our fan base. Okay. And we don't know who comes into our fan base. But the last thing I
Sure.
want to do is tell you, hey, this album's great, but you get into the album and you go, maybe this album ain't for me because
Mm-hmm.
of situations like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
with that being said,
Totally agree.
both albums are pretty consistent all the way through. There are some classics on there from some of his greatest hits albums. You're going to hear those, and it's great. The man is a hell of a songwriter. I can't take that away from him. At the end of the day, the man is a hell of a songwriter. Other people seen things in him, and he has a cult following. But I think at the end of the day, the man writes. He's a hell of a songwriter, and he wrote big hits for a lot of famous country people.
Yep.
He won it. He wrote a Grammy for who was it?
I
Merle
don't know if
Haggard.
he won
Take
a
this job and shove
Grammy.
it. No.
Yeah.
Someone take this job and shove it. Won a Grammy, dude.
Did it?
Yeah, take this job and shove it.
Couldn't
Won a
remember.
fucking Grammy, dude. And he wrote
Yep.
that song, I think, for Merle Haggard.
No, Johnny Paycheck.
Johnny. Okay, so I knew it was somebody around that time. But anyways,
Yep.
Johnny Paycheck got a Grammy off of that song.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. I'm going to give it like I would give just about any David Allen Coe album. It's overshadowed, but like you said, by the word, and I get that. It's not. I've moved beyond this kind of listening, but they both get a solid 8.5 from me, man. A solid 8.5. I wish he would not be going through. And part of this may be on him. Part of this may be me reviewing him too. I wish he would not be so eccentric. I wish for the talent that he is, he could have kept any bullshit in his pants and really. I think the man had the potential to overshadow anybody in that time frame.
Yes.
And I mean that with the utmost sincerity. Had it not been these stains he put on his album.
Yep.
I get it. It was a time and frame, and sometimes you want to test the boundaries of the censors, and I get it. I fucking get it, but it's not always going to work in your favor, man.
Yep. You know what else you kind of just you didn't even pick up on because of that one song? He's talking about polygamy. What other country singer is talking about living in polygamy?
Well, dude,
And he had multiple wives.
Yeah, I mean he's dude, he wrote beautiful stuff, man. I'm not going to take that from him. He's a hell of a musician. We're probably going to lose him soon. He's way up there in his age, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's in his 80s. He is not doing well.
He's lived a hard life.
Mm-hmm.
I fully see some people praising his death and some people booing his death. You know what I mean? So he's a very polarizing character.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's by his own hand.
Yeah. No, so, David Allen Coe is his biggest enemy. He's his own worst enemy. He's always has been.
And listen, if I met the man, I'd definitely shake his hand and tell him I thank you for many, many years of great music. But I'm not going to have a conversation as to why. It's your music. Yeah. It's not for me to question. But unfortunately, yeah. That's where I'm at with it, man.
Sounds good to me. One of the standout, I love that album, but I love both those albums, but one of the standout tracks for me on Long Haired Redneck was Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
He's just this song, just talking to this dead woman. And then he's like, what the hell am I doing here? I just wasted 3 minutes of my time. Songs like Spotlight, where he was just starting to get big, and you could tell in those lyrics, like he was already getting sick of it. He's like, what are we doing here? He had already put out 4 albums by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was his 5th album. Um, and he's just like, what the hell? So, that's one of the things I love about his songwriting is every album is almost it's completely different. Every album shows his mood. Um, so,
Let me tell you,
but I agree.
you know, it's because of this review, my album for you may change by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just have to find one of them for you because I've got a group that has some pretty polarizing stuff. Mm, 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 mm. Let me get the album. Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was going to give you an album, man, but I have to give you this one now. The other one's going to have to wait. All right, yeah, we're good.
There you go. All right.
Um, and this is gonna be my throw to you.
Okay.
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 Let me know.
All right.
Let's hear your album review.
Okay. So I had Animals as Leaders, their debut album, released April 28th of 2009. Um, the song listing is Tempting Time. Soraya,
Soraya.
Thoroughly at Home, On Impulse, Tessitura, Behaving Badly, The Price of Everything, and The Value of Nothing, CAFO, Enamorada, Point to Point, Modern Meat, yeah, and Song of Solomon. Uh, I know I've heard of these guys before, but I couldn't place it. Uh, this this genre of music, I guess you can classify it as instrumental prog rock with uh, fusion and jazz, and it's unique. It is really unique, and I was really excited with this album. This album is great to drive to, or if you're working out. The the song the song placement is just great. Meaning, you start off the album right off the rip with some really good stuff. Tempting Time um, is just a really good opener. Soraya, it reminds me, and this is why I actually started listening to John Coltrane, because Soraya actually had hints of Coltrane. There is definitely, John Coltrane influence in a lot of this stuff. Um, but I first picked it up in Soraya. Thoroughly at Home, I love the pattern changes by the drummer. The drummer just switches it up like boom, boom, boom. Oh, we're here. Now we're going to this speed. Now we're going to this time. No, now we're back here. It was so good. And it was all over the place, but it made sense.
Hey,
It
dude.
was controlled chaos.
Hey, dude.
Hey, dude.
Good evening.
Huh?
We're animals as leaders, and we're going to play all the notes. Is that safe to be said with this album?
Yeah, no, they played every single note, and I think they created a couple. And then they have these really fast, high-paced jazz fusion rock, blah, and then they tone it down with On Impulse. It was beautiful, and it felt epic in places. Um, Tessitura, it was too short. I wanted more. And there is another song on this album that I felt the same way as I was going through. It's like, man, I would have really liked to see how else that would have evolved. And maybe it does evolve like when they're playing it live or if they play it live. But it was too short. I wanted more, again, more jazz influence in that. Behaving Badly, it was all right. That was kind of like the down song for me. I was like, okay. The Price of Everything and the Value of Nothing.
Probably my favorite song on the album.
It's probably my second favorite, just for the song title. That's a powerful title.
And the song
CAFO. Yeah. CAFO is some great shredding there, and that might be my favorite song.
It is the hit. It is the hit off the album. If I implore you to go watch the video. It is unlike anything you've ever seen before. And if you see how Tosin plays guitar, you will shit fucking bricks, dude.
Yeah.
He basically does like finger slap picking, pulling, just insane tapping. If it can be done with a string, this man is fucking making it happen.
Yeah. And then it closes out with Inamorata, Point to Point, and Modern Meat, and then Song of Solomon. Modern Meat, again, it's a slow, acoustic, beautiful song, and too damn short.
Yeah.
Too damn short. I think
I love that you love this album. I can tell by the look on your face.
Yeah, I really did. I really did. And again, this thing was released in 2009. This thing still holds up.
Yeah.
It holds
All
up.
day
Like
long,
if this
dude.
was released today, perfect. It would have been great. And it's kind of funny. And when this album is juxtaposed against David Allan Coe, you got controversy over here. These guys don't sing nothing. They don't say nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing.
They say it through their playing.
Yeah.
Like, here we are, we're the best, and thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for buying our shit because you know we're the best. Dude, when I tell you, dude, I have probably easily seen 100 or more concerts. I have seen many, 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 many musicians. This band, there are no better technical musicians on the face of this planet that I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't care who they are. Now, I will say this. I have not seen Satriani. I have not seen Vi. I have not seen any of the G3 stuff, but I'm going to tell you right now, these two dudes, not just Tosin and this drummer, they're amazing, and what they're creating should really be looked at. If you are an actual fan of music and playing, you really need to check these guys out. And dude,
no, it's got a little bit for everybody. It really does.
It's amazing.
It's a great blend. It's a great blend of just everything. And it's a great, phenomenally produced album.
It's amazing. It's flawless. It's flawless as far as
almost.
Production goes.
Almost, production-wise, yes.
Production goes, it's flawless.
Yep, and that's pretty amazing for a debut album.
Oh yeah, but see, so if I remember this correctly and reading this correctly, he was with a band that was looked at and was very big to do. Like they were on the verge of breaking it big, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever big may be, and a record label came to him right before the band had broke up and said, listen, we'd like to pay you to do an album. And he told him, he said, well, this is pretty much done. I am going to be, taking some time for myself, and maybe we'll talk at some other time, right?
Yeah.
This dude went off to study how to play and be a better guitar player than he already was that they were looking at, put together a band, put together this project and said, does that offer still stand? And they said, of course. Boom, Animals as Leaders was born.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a statement. So I will tell you this. I have listened to every album. I own every album from these guys. I think they're getting ready to drop a new one. If they're not getting ready to drop a new one, it's already been dropped. And I ain't on top of it for some fucking stupid reason. But I will say this. I will own every album by these guys, like I do Satriani, like I do Steve Vai, because I love guitar playing. And these guys are some of the best there is in the fucking field.
Yep.
And I've seen them with my own two eyes, and it's not a fucking game. It's not a joke. These guys are the real fucking deal. And it's absolutely amazing to see it live. Sorry to interrupt, man. I can't talk enough great stuff about these dudes, man. And when you start talking about how much you enjoyed it, it just fills my whole fucking heart, dude, because I know I gave you a gem, dude.
Yeah. Well, and and again, this is how I want, now that we got more time, I want us to actually discuss the album. What do we like? Why do you like it? Both, you know. I thought it was great that you actually enjoyed that uh, long-haired redneck and rides again.
Yeah.
I think that's
I mean,
great.
we're going to have weeks where, because we're given albums from our own personal knowledge, ones that we
Yeah.
know that we enjoy, right? So,
Yeah.
um, like that David Allicoe album, I'm sure you grew up to that at some point in time. You heard that at some point in time. I know I did in my
Oh
house.
yeah.
Okay. So the album I'll be giving you tonight is kind of like that too. It wouldn't be accepted in today's society. Okay. It just wouldn't. And there's some way off color shit going on there. And but does it mean that it's not good? No, it is actually pretty freaking good if you can bypass all the bullshit. You know what I mean? But you'll see it's happening.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm giving my ranking on this, again, I'm going to listen to more of their stuff.
I hope that you
I
do.
can, I think maybe one or two songs that I was just like, you know. Uh, let's see. Out of all those songs, I starred seven out of 12. I starred them, which means I really, really like them. So I'm gonna give this an 8.75. That's a side, I really like this album.
It would get a 9.75 from me because there are just certain, like you said, there are just a few songs that aren't that. But when I take into consideration the playing and what I know it takes to play that shit,
Yeah.
I couldn't mark it any lower.
Yeah.
It's just the technicality is absolutely insane.
Absolutely.
The time signatures are insane. Absolutely insane.
So I strongly encourage anyone who likes any of that prog rock, any instrumental stuff, any heavy stuff. I mean, this has got everything for you.
Dude, because of the jazz elements, I recommended them to my fucking dentist, dude.
Yeah.
Because when I walk in his office, he's got it set to a jazz station. That's his office. Yeah. He must enjoy jazz. I'm like, have you heard about it? Have you ever heard of Animals as Leaders? So they do some jazzy prog metal stuff, man. He said, what's their name? And he actually wrote it down, which means, and I've been going to him since I was a kid. So he took it seriously. So, next time I go see him, I'm going to hit him up and say, hey, what you think of those dudes, man? But yeah, somebody, my buddy Mike turned me on to those dudes, and it got me going down this path of gent metal is what they're kind of bundled in there with. And I found out about Mushroom Head. I found out about Tesseract. I found out about Polini. I saw Polini open up for Animals as Leaders in this really small ass fucking venue off of what's that? So you're going down High Street, going south, and you're in the downtown area. What's that next main road to the right? Because to the left, it'd be like if you were up on High Street, it'd be like Indianola. But what's the main road that runs downtown to the right beside High Street? Like that runs parallel to High Street, huh?
Summit.
Yeah. It might be, but anyways, it's right downtown. Like like right in the arena district area. Okay. Right behind North Market. Literally, it was right behind North Market. But we went to this venue. We
Yeah,
saw
Summit.
animals.
That's
We
Summit.
saw animals as leaders, and Pellini opened up for him, dude. And let me tell you, man, there was 3 bands that played that night, and I can't for the life of me. I've been trying to remember this third band's name, and I have to just go through my stuff. But man, they were all fucking amazing. There's a series of guitar players out there that you guys know nothing about unless you decide to start with Animals and Leader and start digging.
Yeah.
It gets fucking out of hand. Like some of these dudes are Pellini's endorsed right through Facebook by fucking Steve Vai. Like I seen him on, like, I think it may have been his first American tour. And dude, this dude was nuts. But anyways, if you like that stuff, man, I can definitely turn you on to some more.
Sweet.
With that being said, I think we should probably get ready to wrap up. We've been going for a minute, to be honest with you. What album you got for me this week?
I've got for you Shooter Jennings, Waylon's youngest son, with his experimental album Black Ribbons. It's a concept album featuring Stephen King.
Shooter Jennings, Black Ribbon.
Yep.
Okay. Since we're going to continue down this path.
No.
You're killing me.
I don't want to hear it. You gave me black death metal speed.
You were going to get an album that is unparalleled.
Mm-hmm.
In the death metal, especially technical death metal community. It was a band called Atheist, and give me a second here. What was the name of the fucking album? I don't ever have my fucking shit together, to be honest anymore. Unquestionable Presence was going to be that album, and I was only going to give that to you because I was listening to it today, and I'm probably going to do my best to go see him in Cleveland, but because of the way this review went, I've changed my mind, and I don't know if it's on YouTube. You're going to have to look it up. My apologies. Dr. Hook, Sloppy Seconds. Are you familiar with this album?
I know Dr. Hook, though.
This is another album I grew up on in my household, and it's once again some scathing stuff going on there, but there's some really good songwriting going on there. So feel free to check that out. Let me know what you think next week. Once again, if you like what you see here, please like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry we took a little bit longer tonight. We were kind of just chilling to see how this recording thing goes. We'll get this episode up as soon as possible. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Bruce?
Absolutely. Guys, thanks as always. And Tony, thank you for everything you do for me and the show. And, we're just going to keep on keeping on.
We're doing our best over here, man. Sometimes you rub 2 sticks together, you don't get a fire. But you know what? We're going to keep on rubbing those sticks together.
Brought to you by Bud Light.
All right, man. Listen, I'll see you next week. Thank you, guys. Be patient. I hope
Good night, everybody.
Episodes. See ya.
See ya.